Alright, so there's two big questions that have arisen after Naruto 626. First question, after Hashirama said that he saw his friend die that day and he don't understand how he's alive or how he survived, that's a good question. How did Madara survive after clearly he looked like he was dead on the floor after Hashirama got him? How did he survive and live onward, because we saw him as an old man in Obito's era, so that means that he obviously somehow survived. Couple of theories about that. First of all, we can talk about there's a possibility the cells that he had originally planned to take from Madara, or from Hashirama, excuse me, uh, somehow as he took them, they went into a wound, which would seem a little bit meh, shaky, but that's a possibility. It has something to do with his cells, because I mean his cells have freaking they're the cure for world hunger at this point. So that's one of the explanations. Another one could be Edo Tensei, but at this point, who would use Edo Tensei to revive Madara? I don't see anybody in particular that would do it. Obviously, all his brothers are gone. Maybe a small group of his clan that did it, and then as soon as they revived him, he killed them afterwards. Because it also would raise the question how the hell he knew how to break out of Edo Tensei at that point when he was revived, previously in some of the chapters we read. So, it raises a lot of questions of how he survived. Zetsu is obviously a part of Madara, so it couldn't have been like there was a wild Zetsu around there that revived him. And it's just really a big mystery how he survived and ended up becoming an old man when Hashirama said, "No, I clearly saw my friend die that day." Another question, big question, that was arisen after this chapter was, do you feel as though Hashirama beat Madara fairly with basically striking him from the back when they were both standing there? There's one thing that I felt like was missing with this chapter, and that was I wanted to see what it was exactly that made Hashirama make this change, because we know prior to this he would not have done this. He would not have killed his friend from the back like that dishonorably and just all around kill Madara. What was the final straw that made him change? I wish we would have gotten more about that. I feel as though a lot of the small details were skipped in favor of the grand parts of this flashback. But in particular, I just would have liked to see, was it some words that Tobirama said? Was it being with the village this long that he fell in love with the village even more, that he's like, I can't let this guy do anything anymore. I have to stop him here and now. So that's another question that you can I guess arise as well. Me personally, he did what he had to do. They were both standing there. They're in a battle. He did what he had to do. He did the shinobi way, and he took him out. He did what he had to do. He made up for what a lot of people accuse him. You should have killed him then when you had the chance, when he was on the floor. He was like, I need to make up for this. I let this man loose. I need to stop this. So he also, I feel as though he redeemed himself when he did that. Was it the most honorable? No. It's a bit dishonorable. Very dishonorable. Attacking a man from behind, pretty dishonorable. But I will say that he did what needed to be done, and I feel as though he did legitimately win. He did what he had to do. It was very dark. I didn't expect that from Hashirama. I'm a little baffled. Like, wait, Hashirama did that? Really? Really? But overall, I feel as though he did what needed to be done, and he won legitimately that battle. Definitely not the way I saw it. I'm not gonna lie, I did not see that coming at all. I just saw, maybe like one big clash, and then Madara was on the ground. Didn't see it like that. Very dark for Kishimoto, and I like it. I like it. It adds a little more depth to Hashirama's character and some of the troubles that go on, and some of the scars that was left after that battle. And it also, I guess, a third question I didn't really think about till now is, how did Hashirama die afterward? What was it that killed him? What was it that killed Tobirama? I would like to learn more about this as the story goes on, but definitely big questions there. As far as the chapter overall goes, we're done with the flashback, which I'm glad. Mainly the flashback. The only problem I have with it is I wish there would have been more details as far as certain events. What was it the final time? Because when Hashirama was explaining, he said that Madara kept on attacking the village afterward. After he left, he had, multiple times, I believe, he kept on attacking. What was it the final time that made him, you know what, this is it? Again, small details were skipped. So that's one of the problems I would say of the flashback. But for the most part, I felt bad for Hashirama having to make such a harsh decision about his friend and ultimately kill him like that. I feel bad for the dude. I feel bad for the whole situation. It was just, again, human nature that what took Madara out in the end, because had he not gone and did what he did, things would have been different. Here's a question that I guess you could, or something food for thought at this point, as far as Tobinama's character. Now, Tobinama is a hard ass, and he don't give a shit for the most part. But what if, just a small what if, he felt bad enough for maybe his brother, maybe some sins that he felt he needed to cleanse himself, and somehow he used Edo Tensei to revive Madara and said, I don't ever want to see your face again. I did this for my brother's sake, so I could feel better about myself. Now, I highly doubt Tobinama did that, because in all honesty, he's an asshole. We've seen, he's an asshole. He hates Uchiha. I highly doubt he did that. But just what if his conscience kicked in and he did that, or if somebody else found out Edo Tensei? But particularly, it would add a very interesting dynamic to what if it was Tobinama that did that because he felt bad, or he felt like he needed to redeem the sins, or whatever the case may be. Just a little thought that popped into my mind. Overall, the battle, pretty intense. There could have been more details. I felt like this battle could have gone on for like multiple chapters, but for the speed that it was at, I felt it was decent, the battle. I liked how the QB was bested by that freaking giant thing that Hashirama created. He beat the QB to the point where Susanoo was disappeared, and then the QB was just like passing out from getting his ass kicked. You know Hashirama is a beast after that. You beating the QB, senseless. Pretty freaking epic there. I guess another thing that I would say that I wish we would have seen more of, Mito. We didn't get to see Hashirama meet Mito. We didn't get to see her participation in the battle. From what Obito told us, which again, we can't trust everything because he didn't have all the facts. He wasn't there for crying out loud. Apparently Mito should have been a factor in this, helping him. And we didn't get to see that. So that's another, I guess, downside of this that I wish we would have got more of. So yeah, like I said, small details skipped for the most part with the fight. But I'm kind of glad the flashback is over. We're back to the present. And next week we'll get Sasuke's decision. What do you guys think? Will Sasuke actually choose to, go against the village, or he'll decide like, whoa. It's a really testy thing, because from what he understood, and, me personally looking at it, he can interpret it in two different ways. He can interpret it that Madara was given multiple chances by Hashirama. Let's be friends. Let's do this right. But he could also look at it as like, this Tobirama dick, the village, they did my people dirty. He could look at it in two different ways. He can interpret this in two different ways. In the end, I feel as though Hashirama did what needed to be done. Madara could have handled things differently, as much as, like I said in my worst Hokage video, as much as Tobinama did do things wrong, and I felt as though ostracizing him, everything that he did, Madara could have approached this differently. He could have just left the village and said, you know what, I'm starting my own shit. Peace, guys. He didn't have to attack the village. So all in all, Madara kind of, in my opinion, shouldn't have done what he did, and I feel as though Hashirama was in the right. And if Sasuke listened to that story all the way, Sasuke should know that the Senju weren't bad. There's always been this rivalry, and cut the shit already. That's where I think Sasuke's resolve should be after hearing the story. But we'll have to wait and see. Overall, I enjoyed the chapter for the most part. I felt like very fast-paced and to skip some details, but it still did a nice job, and I did not expect that Hashirama would deliver a sneak attack to ultimately win this one. I just didn't. So 3 questions, I guess, main 3 questions. First of all, do you feel as though Hashirama won legit? Second of all, what will be Sasuke's resolve? What will be his answer after hearing this story? My take on it, dude, just cut it. You hear that Hashirama tried his best and Madara wouldn't stop. You heard the things, the way it went down, but he can also go a different way as well. He can feel like Tobirama and the Senju oppressed his clan. It depends on that. And the final question is, how did Madara survive that fight? What was it? Was it the DNA? What was it that allowed him to continue living into that old age? Maybe Tobirama revived him and kept him all messed up and said, yeah, you can live onward. We'll just have to wait and see. But again, I enjoyed the chapter. My rating, I want to say 4 out of 5. And the reason it lost 2, it could have been a 4.5 or a 5 out of 5 is because we lost many details. I wanted to see some of Mito. What happened? Why wasn't she participating in the battle, as we heard? And just the small details. What changed Hashirama to ultimately do that to his friend that he loved so much? We'll just have to wait and see. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for the finale of Hashirama versus Madara, because it was a heartfelt matchup, and ultimately it's sad to see a friendship go to waste. But this is a representation of what humankind is today. And if you look at it closely, it's like sometimes friends go in different paths, and maybe it can end up in war. It can end up in any different situation, but ultimately, it depends on what path you guys choose. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.